The entire system is collapsing as we speak. Take a look at this. Big banks experience deposit spike after Silicon Valley Bank collapse. What we have seen is a massive transfer of wealth from all of the small banks across the country into these giant conglomerates of banking. Bank of America alone has raked in more than 15 billion of new deposits in just the span of days, with more coming and more before this was even starting to register. FDIC insures deposits up to $250,000 per bank borrower, regardless of if the accounts are small, medium, or large banks. But a lot of people with more money than that are wanting to move it over and spread out their banks, which makes sense. When you have this much money moving from the small banks to the big banks, that is systematic bank implosion, as I just came up with a term for. But you can see here, Silicon Valley Bank, 200 billion. Signature Bank, 110 billion. 2023, two banks failed. 319 billion so far in total assets, not even to mention Credit Suisse, which is now in a bankruptcy position, and they are trying to scramble fast to figure out how to put funds where they need to be to fix the problem, but it's really not going to be fixed. But you compare that 2023 to, for example, 2008. 2008, 374 billion. So we are now, just at the beginning of 2023, we already have close to the same amount as we saw in 2008 of banks of this magnitude collapsing. And you can see up here, this is banks. Each purple circle represents a failed bank. Controls are sized by the bank's total assets. And you can see 2009, 171 billion, 2011, 35 billion, 12 billion, 2012, 2014, pretty small, 2007, 2013, most years relatively small. This year, absolutely massive. So this is not just something that we see every once in a while. This is systematic of a larger problem. This could be another 2008 type crisis that we are going to experience, and I'll put the probability of that actually pretty dang high. Now, fortunately, cryptocurrency seems to be responding well to this. Remember, when Joe Biden won in 2020, that was part of the reason we saw a huge spike in cryptocurrency, because people wanted to move their money out of the traditional systems before Joe Biden came in and ramped up spending even more, which is exactly what happened. Those bets ended up being very much right as cryptocurrency continued to spike for months and months, over a year after the Joe Biden presidency had started. Along with that, crypto prices doing really well. Not just that, the entire world situation also was definitely good for cryptocurrency, even though it was bad, of course, for the millions of people who were impacted, including myself and many others, by it. But still, this is important because we want to be putting our money where it's safest, where it's best, and that is, of course, the case. Someone said get a ledger and a Faraday bag. There we go. Now you're talking. People don't trust banks anymore. Crypto will be the future. That's absolutely right. Banks are quickly going out of fashion, out of style. Sam Bankman-Fried, by the way, he doesn't even need a bank, I guess. 2.2 billion from FTX, while CEO court filings reveal. So he was getting paid massive amounts of money that we didn't even know about. And all of this as his company was getting closer and closer to collapse. FTX now in a position where so many people have been hurt massively from it, but it doesn't necessarily matter, right, for Sam Bankman-Fried, because he's going to be in prison pretty much no matter what, along with Bill Gates in prison. If you saw my video that I post on Twitter, then you know what I'm talking about there. Some people were saying, we need more evidence. Well, be patient. The first step to actually having Bill Gates held accountable for what he's done is simply to make sure we get as much exposure as possible on the things he has done. And a few things in there you have likely never heard before that we have been able to dig up, and that's continuing, part 2 coming soon. So fear not, we have a lot more in the cards for that series there, because it's important, I think, that no matter what, we call these globalists and these elitists who are doing things that hurt society, who are in part causing some of these collapses and some of these problems with the banks. We cannot, under any circumstances, forget about the fact that this was largely avoidable. All of it, almost always is. But you can see, I thought this was a very interesting animation here. You can see the panic sailor and the whale. Got the eggs there, selling it for 140. It's Bitcoin in this example. Then this is the panic seller. So the panic seller looks, oh, come on. You got 140? All right. I want to compete with you. I want to be getting the sales. I'm going to change my price to $100. There we go. Now look. Oh, so $100. I'm a whale. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy the dip here. This sounds like a good plan. So go ahead and here's a couple hundred. I'll take both. Oh, look. Now I have all the supply. well, it's almost like I can now charge whatever I want for them. Let's see if the price skyrockets. Now there's less supply and more demand. There we go. Now it's going to be 350. And of course the panic started. Wait, what? What happened here? I thought we were competing at the lower price. How did it go up here? Well, maybe you should have held on. Maybe you should have. If you're a panic seller, you could at the very least just bring it to the same price, 140. I mean, my goodness, what a smart whale there. That's a very intelligent move. Looks like a Mr. Bean type thing. It's protects from EMP strikes, says Mayo Teo. Oh, that's actually very smart. I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, you could have anything pretty much that you love destroyed technological wise from an EMP. Those things are scary. I mean, that people don't understand, I think, how much that could cripple society, and it wouldn't be necessarily, it would cause people to pass away as an indirect result. It's not a directly lethal thing, right? But still, it's going to have a huge negative impact on society, and people will lose their lives from it. There's no doubt about that. If you don't know what an EMP is, it basically just disables all electronics within a pretty large radius of where it is detonated. It's actually very scary. Now, it's not as scary as, say, you know, an NUKE, but it's still pretty dang scary because it could massively hurt a huge sector of society, and it also has a very long range and can be implemented relatively seamlessly over a vast swath of area in a very short period of time. New York sues KuCoin, expands cryptocurrency crackdown. I thought this was interesting because we now have New York showing themselves as the worst place to go if you're a crypto enthusiast. I'm sure a lot of people here are in New York. It is what it is. If you're there, I highly encourage you to get the heck out. There's a lot of better states you can go to. Florida is much better. Texas, much better. Tax-wise, especially, those are the two I'm citing for 0% taxes. Colorado is significantly better. I mean, oddly, even California, in some ways, is better than New York right now, which is really crazy to think about, even though I would never recommend anyone moves to California for any reason whatsoever, even though a lot of us are already there. A lot of you watching are from California. The only reason why I say that, the tax rate for state taxes there is just insane. I mean, especially if you're in a higher income bracket, you do not want to live in California. If you're in a lower income bracket, it's definitely a different type of thing, but especially if you're higher income, California is an absolute no-go. And even if you're lower income, there's certain parts of California that you should just avoid at all cost. Some parts of California are absolutely awful, and even still, your taxes are going to be higher no matter what income bracket you're in in almost every case in California compared to most states. Weird stuff to think about, especially if they're not going to manage the government and they're not going to actually make your life safer or easier. What exactly is the government doing with all that money that they're raking in? In my NY, but cannot leave, Matt. I'll hold till the end. It says El Vecino del Tio. And keep in mind that NY in California, that's like 1/3 of the entire United States. So in theory, 1/3 of everyone here is from either California or New York. So don't feel like I'm isolating you there. But at the same time, I mean, there's a lot of beautiful states. If you do have the ability to leave, you may want to look at some of those options there. If you can't leave, then make the best of it. I mean, it is what it is. It sucks. In New York, we're going to be pushing for them to change the laws. We're going to be pushing for them to actually allow more freedom and transparency when it comes to things like this, especially the freedom part. The transparency part is more just a word I added on there for fun because I like that word. I don't even know what I was referring to with that. The first one, though, what I'm referring to is they actually block you from buying certain types of crypto in New York. And that's what we can absolutely change and need to change. But until we do, I think the most important thing we can do right now is just bring attention to it, because that'll, at the very least, put more pressure on the politicians. We've already gotten them to retract some of the laws, but some of the things they're trying to do that hurt. More taxes on cryptocurrency mining, that type of thing. Even the federal government is doing that right now. So that's what we need to really fight back against. Yeah, if you want to press the like button, you're certainly welcome to do that. 1 like equals 1 new individual coming into the live. I've said that probably 300, 400 times, and I don't know. I mean, of all the times I've said that, how many times have you actually pressed the like button? That's my question. Once, twice, every time? Let me know. How many times have you pressed the like button from when I said that? Is now going to be the first time you do it. Maybe, just maybe. We'll see. Crypto newbie mentality. Wait. Oh, now buy. There we go. Wait till it's there to buy. Yeah, that's the smart way to do it. There we go. Now we're cooking with grease. Hit the like button, guys, says Ma Tio. Appreciate that. Remember, there's a guy who literally has a like button as his name. That's so far my favorite community member name that we have here. I mean, it's just beautiful. It's beautiful. The like button. It helps me out. Because then I can just read his name, and I don't have to talk about the like button. I just read a name, then boom, there we go. I didn't say the like button. I just read a name. What are you talking about? I'm still confused how nonprofit, which I donated 100 million to. I thought this was very interesting. So Elon Musk was someone who played a role in OpenAI starting. Now OpenAI has gone into an extreme category where OpenAI is not being unbiased. They're very partisan, and they're also very restrictive, very censory, if we want to make a new word there. But I'm still confused at how a nonprofit, which I donated 100 million to, somehow became a 30 billion market cap for profit. If this is legal, why doesn't everyone do it? Calling them out. And yes, OpenAI is certainly going to have the SEC looking very closely at them, because you can't really do that now, can you? Unless you want to give Elon Musk his 100 million back, because for profit from nonprofit, and yet you're keeping all the money. It's almost like you can't do that, and that's illegal. But I mean, I digress. We'll see. Maybe the government's scared to do anything because they don't want the OpenAI to go after them. I mean, it would be pretty scary having a bunch of AI robots showing up at your door and they're trying to take you out. Not something I would want to see happen. Matt's thought on XDC. What do you mean? You mean XRP? Is XDC a new crypto? Oh, XDC price. Oh yeah, look at that. It's a ranked number 87. Oh yeah, it's doing pretty well right now. Up 55% in the last 24 hours. Wow, nice spike there. So I see why you are bringing this to my attention. Wow, that's a very interesting looking coin. Let's go ahead and read about it here for a second. XDC, formerly called XFIN. Oh, because they changed their name. Interesting. EVM compatible blockchain. Okay, the second I see EVM compatible blockchain, I have some skepticism. But you know what? After this show is over, I'm going to look into this a little bit more. Thank you for showing me here. Jumping into the top 100 in the last 24 hours. It's fun to see when crypto projects are capable of doing that. And only some of them are actually worthy of it. And those who are will continue to spike further. So that's something we're going to monitor. Anyway, I'm Matt Wallace. This is Final Stand. And I'll see you in the next video.